Hey, Caroline. Hey, Sammy. Good morning. Hi. The boot
Hello.
is off, Caroline.
Yay.
Hallelujah. How do you feel?
I feel better. My back hurts, but that's okay. It's gonna get better.
Um, we just had a team meeting, a client meeting, and Emma was like very, very hyped up about you. She's very pumped about your next month or two and beyond, actually. Yeah. Hi, Amber. Hey, Sammy. Beth, you're still connecting to audio. Amber, how are you feeling coming off of your show?
Emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some overwhelm just with the jarring change and everything. Because it is life absorbing, right? And so to go from something that basically is taking all of your time to adjusting back to a relatively slower schedule, readjusting all the priorities. Anyway, I'm handling it.
What do we talk about? It's a transition. What do we talk about transitions? They are super stressful.
Yeah, and then like going right into a vacation. So I'm coming off of that, trying to prep to leave to go to my parents' house for a week, which everybody say a prayer for me because I'll need it.
We're going to talk through it because often, and we'll get into it, but this isn't always the most joyful experience for people to go through over the holidays. I mean, sometimes it's just straight up stressful, and we'll have a discussion around that as well. I'm going to, hey, LV, hey, Bonnie, Beth, nice to see your face. Sammy, I see you're here. I'm recording this. If you do not want to be on camera, go ahead and turn your camera off. No hard feelings about doing that. We will probably share this with the community on Sunday so people can rewatch it. So just letting you know that this will be replayed, and I want to give you guys the option to opt out if you don't want to be present for that. All right.
But we like you.
Yeah.
We like seeing you.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see you. Uncross your ankles. Let's go through some breath work, and then we'll get into the conversation. Just take a deep breath in. Inhale in. And let the air out. I want you to align your shoulders over your hips. Take any tension out of your mouth. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax your jaw. Good, and let your stomach be naturally resting. Hands right above your legs or right above your knees on your legs, and your feet touching the floor. If you can get that connection, great. Take an inhale in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. Again, a little bit more intentional. Inhale in and exhale the air. Last one, friends. Inhale in and exhale the air. Good, just rest right here with your eyes closed. I want you to hold up your hand or type in the chat if Thanksgiving is joyful. 2, if Thanksgiving can be stressful. 1, if it's joyful. 2, if it can be stressful. And just make yourself aware. I'm going to think through that. How does it feel? Good. And then lower your hands when you're ready and blink your eyes open. Come on back. If you are not part of our community, 1 and 2, Chrissy says, if you're not part of our community, I'm Lane Bruner. I'm the founder of Wellthy Soul. I'm recovering disordered eating. I've been on the anorexia side. I've been on the binge side. And I have really the premise of Wellthy Soul and where it came from is how to figure out how to teach people how to eat well and live well without the disorder that can come with trying to lose weight, right? No family equals joyful. That's funny, Sammy. Emma, who's here. Emma, if you'll kind of wave your hand. She is our personal health advisor. She's a master trainer. She's smart as can be. She is day to day with clients. Emily, you want to raise your hand? Clinical dietitian, registered dietitian with us, also very smart. I know how to hire people. And she, though she looks like an itty bitty little baby, knows more about nutrition than many people that I've worked with in this industry for a long time. And Luz Helena, really like our glue. She runs operations, but also does onboarding for us, and is brilliant as well. We're here to talk about how to do Thanksgiving a little bit better this year. And I don't mean better in terms of better food on the plate, though we do have recipes we'll talk through. I'm talking about better in terms of the way that you manage the stress and the holiday as it comes. It is part joyful for me, but part stress for me. Personally, coming from, having a kind of a tough issue with food and a tough relationship with food, there are things that are presented to me on a table that I love. I love stuffing, right? And I want to make sure that I'm using my moderation, flexing my moderation muscles when sitting down at a table for Thanksgiving. The things, Christmas becomes a lot though. I see it, Emma, yes. I will say to you that though Thanksgiving can be this beautiful experience, it can also bring up some guilt and some shame, especially if you're eating with family members that, may have different views on food, nutrition, movement, discussing politics, discussing body image. And those things can be triggers for us. And if you're here, you've probably at some point used food to soothe your body, either in a restrictive way or in a way that, makes you go to food to soothe. And so we just want to make awareness, and really the intention of this conversation today is to bring awareness around living more mindfully up into Thanksgiving, and then of course through the holiday season. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to jump in to conversation. Excuse me for 1 second. Here we go. So the first thing that I will say to you, and we've already really discussed, is this page. Does everybody here have the book? If you do not have the book right now, please drop a line into the chat and say, I need it or need the book, please. If you don't have it, we'll get it to you. Our strategy for this Thanksgiving and really this holiday season is to start with mindset. If you are part of programming with us, you already have a mindset practice that you use. I want to stress to you that you practicing positive words of affirmation and setting your intentions for Thanksgiving will be very, very key to the success of your day. Not overeating and really just enjoying the moments with your family and with your friends. Acknowledge what's about to happen. Use your breath work. We just went through a breath work cycle. You can do 5 to 10 deep breathing practices at any time throughout the day, but definitely in the morning. And then something that we do in my family that I want to encourage you to do as well is just sharing something you're grateful for at the table while you guys are eating. And lastly, use some flexibility in your mind. Thursday does not have to be a day of restriction. It should be a day of moderation, if that makes sense. And Emma's going to talk a little bit about movement, and then Emily on nutrition.
Absolutely. So I think one of the important things that we do at Wellthy Soul in our mindset is we set intentions, right? We set really big, I will state, not necessarily really big, but just having an intention for the day, something tangible that you are going to do. And if you can include movement in that statement, I think that is going to help set you up. Now, it also comes back to your flexible thinking. The gyms are going to be closed. The classes are not going to be operating. It's not going to look the same, but it's still going to be a form of movement, however you choose to do it. Now, in the book, I put together a really fun family workout for you guys that involves a counter. So one person is the counter. They're doing the 100 mountain climbers. I know it sounds like a lot. Maybe you cut it down to 50, and then everybody has a different exercise that they do, and we rotate around, right? We get outside, we, burn some calories, get the heart rate going. I think it's a great way to tie together family that you might not normally work out with, or maybe it's just the 4 of you. It might just be me and my kids and my husband out there doing it. The other thing we would love to see actually within the community, and I look at travel as an opportunity, to just test out different restaurants and food and all of that, and really kind of flex that muscle, but also like go look for different studios, go look for a turkey trot, sign up your cousin or your aunt or your mom or whoever, do the turkey trot with you. It doesn't have to be a run. It doesn't have to be a PR kind of day, but it's a long walk that you can take and you can sign up and you are committed to do. And I think that that's a really fun thing, and a fun way to see another city that you might not normally do. The overarching idea with the movement is that it's a Thursday, right? And if you work out on a Thursday, you should probably still work out on a Thursday. Just like if you work out on a Wednesday, then you work out the day before Thanksgiving, and you work out on a Friday the day after. I'm pretty much good for most Fridays. I am not good for Mondays. Mondays are not my favorite day to work out, but Fridays, it's a sure thing. So keep that same schedule. Sammy, hubby is working Thanksgiving, rest of family is doing it. I love it. That's awesome. Where are you doing the turkey trot? Is it local? It's going to be local, right? Because you're not traveling. So that's great.
Who else has a turkey trot in their neighborhood or in their community?
Nice.
Where you're going, who signed up for it?
Beth, I know you were thinking about it.
I know you were, Beth. Okay. So there's a few of us in the same community, and I don't want to run it. You don't have to run it, Beth.
You don't have to
I
run
know, I'm
it.
gonna walk. I haven't signed up because I don't want to get up.
So who is in Austin, Texas right now? If you're in Austin, Texas right now, raise your hand. All right. Yes. And we're all pretty close to each other in proximity.
Mhm.
If you're thinking about doing the turkey trot in this neighborhood, we need to do that, and we need to see each other and high five each other on the way. Okay. I'll commit to it.
I love that. I love it.
Yep. Good. Thank you. All right. We do not have to run, you guys. We do not have to run.
I would walk it.
It can be.
Beth, you wanna walk it?
She's been getting her miles in, so I know she can walk it.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect.
I love it. I love it. That is a great strategy. Get together with friends that you haven't seen in a while, or family, and do it. Make your own turkey trot. Find a 3-mile loop that you love and get the family out and get moving. One thing I do want to point out though, yes, that is what you might normally do. And the workout that we have in our book is designed for family fun and just to burn some extra calories. It's not designed to PR anything or do anything amazing with that. It's just a movement, a pattern that you can do, right? It's just something you can do. If the stress is simply too much, if it's very overwhelming and it's really that cortisol is high already, we don't want to add in any extra physical stress on top of a lot of emotional stress. That is when you turn to a YouTube yoga that you might be able to do. That is when you get to your Pilates. That is when you do your breath work. That is when you seek out the calmness. Stretching, if you've been traveling and stuck in a car or even on a plane, let's be honest, it's pretty cramped. So you think about the stress level before you go into it, and don't sprinkle in any additional. Yoga with Adrienne is free. Beautiful. Absolutely. Do those. And if you have the Peloton app, they have yoga as well. And so get on that. So think about that. That is how you set your mindset. If it's stressy and not going so great, we go for the low impact. If you're ready to push it and you want to get some sillies out with everybody, then jump in for the high impact stuff and get it done.
So if you held up a number 2, then you're going to be doing a low impact workout, a walk. If you held up a number 1, you can go for it. Knock yourself out. Good. Good. Okay. I'm going to share screen again. Emily, you want to talk a little bit about nutrition on Thanksgiving, and we'll go into depth about this, but just kind of highlights.
Absolutely. So we want to remind you guys that Thanksgiving is one meal. It's our one big meal of that day. It's not the whole day, however, and it's not the whole week. So just because you guys get to enjoy a meal with your family doesn't mean we want you to go on and continue to do that, you know, so on for the next week or so. And don't do it prior either. We want to remind you guys also to stick to what you know and what we've taught you so far. You know, use your whole food nutrition that we've taught you, focus on those vegetables, bring what you know that you can eat. And again, enjoy it. Like, we want you to enjoy being around your family. And I know it can be stressful sometimes, but bring what you know, even savor it, enjoy it with your family. And again, it's just one meal. So not the whole day, not the whole week.
So raise your hand if you have somebody who's going to be pressuring you to eat foods that you are not comfortable eating.
Amber.
Okay. So I understand too. And I was raised my family roots are in Kentucky. And in Kentucky, there is a lot of really delicious Southern food. I love it. I love to eat it, y'all. But it doesn't really align perfectly with how I eat today. Okay. So we've got two schools of thought, and I'm going to share both of them with you, and you can decide what serves you best. One, you can go with a moderation mindset where you walk into that conversation, you know, you're going to have some of Aunt's, you know, great Aunt Martha's, whatever, and you'll just eat a small scoop of each thing that's offered, because you know you'll hurt someone's feelings if you don't eat it. Yes. Second school of thought is that you have a conversation with them. You know, you have an open conversation and say, this really, you know, the way that I'm eating today is a little bit different than the standard American diet. I don't want to come off as judgmental or anything like that, but today my body needs to be fueled in a certain way. So I'm choosing the foods that serve my body best. I know that sounds easier rolling off my tongue than actually saying it to Aunt Martha, but having that conversation up front with the people that you trust and you love, and setting their expectations before the meal time and before you're hand picking the dishes that are in front of you might better serve everyone and avoid an uncomfortable conversation at the table. Okay. So school of thought one is go with moderation, take a little bit of everything, and, you know, eat what, you know, eat to serve other people, or have the conversation with your family. If it's a safe environment that you could do that, and just let them know, you know, I'm going to be eating a little bit differently this year and beyond, and this is why. If you are in first phase of our program, you're probably going to be using option 2, having the conversation about the foods that are on your plate and saying, I'm not going to be overindulging and going back for seconds and thirds. If you are kind of past phase 1 of our programming and you're in phase 2 through 3, moderation may be just fine for you right now.
Yeah, and I want to tack on to that lane, just with this idea of you have breakfast, you have lunch, and then there's a meal in between lunch and dinner that's a big one. And so we're not saying, you know, you can't have those things. We're just a restriction or anything like that. It's just, this is the food that's going to serve me right now. And one of, you know, it'll all be the next year. Thanksgiving's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I just want to create this space. Hey, Elby. I just want to create this space of empowering you to step into your voice, and not be if this is a stressful situation for you, not be bullied into eating things that you don't actually want, that don't serve you. But if that's not something that you're going to be faced with, then, you know, this problem doesn't really relate to your situation. LV, you raised your hand. You want to talk a little
it was by accident, but I have a few things I wanted to add, if that's
Please.
okay.
Please.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to Thanksgiving at my husband's brother's house, and they're all boys except for my sister-in-law and me, but that's okay. My biggest problem is that they always want me to make these special dishes that they like that are really rich. So I just have to resist that, but I can do it. But a lot of times I'll try to so they just care if your plate's full, right? So for the boys. So a lot of times I'll make sure that my sister-in-law is very fit too. So I make sure that one of us is making a really nice salad or other thing, you know, and then I'm bringing certain things too that I can eat as well. And then and then I just fill up my plate with a lot of salad and stuff that I really want, because that's the stuff I really want anyway. And so that works out just fine. The boys just are going to eat a ton of everything anyway, so that's fine. And then I bring them the special dishes that they wanted me to make. And I might have a little scoop and enjoy that, but but I'll just enjoy them enjoying it, because I don't really need to have it. But making it is hard, to be honest, but you just get past that part. And sometimes what I try to do is I'll try to eat and or drink, like make sure I'm having my water before I go. And I'll try to eat something like salad and or vegetables before I get there, because then I'll be better off not trying to like eat all the appetizers and all the other stuff just because I want to eat it and everybody else is eating it.
Yes.
LV, I was just gonna say kind of what I think Emma just said, but I think you took that literally right out of our mouths. Like we were literally gonna talk about, I love that you said all of that. It was amazing. Like we wanted to express to you guys that it's really important, if you want to enjoy like that, small piece of like mac and cheese or like mashed potato or something, make sure you're filling up a lot of your plate with colorful vegetables. And we'll get into that further, like I kind of just said, but like with a bunch of salads, like you said, LV, and making sure that you're eating before, like don't just skip breakfast and go on.
Good breakfast.
Like, yeah, like then you'll be even more hungry, you'll tend to overeat. So eating something before,
Right.
drinking lots of water is going to be super beneficial. So that was awesome.
Thank you.
Like you've done this before or something, LV.
Yeah,
Jeez.
crazy.
Just a little, right? And
Yeah.
the same thing with the drinks. Like there's often like a lot of like alcoholic drinks and stuff. I'm not a big alcoholic person anyway, not because I'm trying to be fuddy-duddy, but it doesn't feel good to me. So, it makes my stomach hurt later, so I don't like it. But same thing. So I will try to bring something that I will like a flavored tea or some flavored water, just because then it gives me something to hold and I can still feel festive with everybody else, but I
Yes.
don't have to be consuming all of that.
Mhm.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm glad that you did. Let's jump into, here's the workout. You really covered the workout, didn't you? Do you want to talk any more about this?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you've got a group that need to work out their sillies, kids included, it's no real equipment. If you have a pumpkin, that's great. You can use that. You can cut it down to, I said 100 mountain climbers because that sounds good to me, but maybe in your world it's 50. So maybe for kids, you
Wait. 100 mountain climbers sounds good to you?
Yeah, let's do it. You ready? 100 just sounds good. If you've ever worked out with me, like whole numbers are my jam. So I don't ever go small. So there's that. But yeah, it's a great workout, great way to just get everybody moving.
Good. Look at Lou, Selena right there.
Oh,
I love it. Of course, you can use classes on the studio. We're not teaching classes on Thursday or Friday of next week, but you've got recorded classes that you can access as well. So always available for you. All right, let's talk about how to navigate the actual meal, the actual day of. So in my family, we eat appetizers as the meal is being cooked. I don't know if anybody else has that in their family as well, but there's always snacky foods that are out while we're preparing the meal. So food on food on food on food, right? And so we gave you some options of, more nutrient dense foods for you to choose. There's a dip, there's some bars that you can choose. The thought in my mind that I want to share with you and that we've discussed is that just choose the veggies. Just choose the foods that are a little bit less heavy in calories for the pre-meal. LV made the good suggestion of starting with a salad and having a salad before you go into the large meal. That's a great option. But if there's veggies and dip, that's great for you. I would be staying away from the more carby bread type appetizers. There's going to be stuffing on your plate. There's going to be potatoes. You'll have plenty of starch at the actual meal. So for your pre-meal, for your appetizer, let's keep it pretty light if you can. And again,
Lane, have you guys have y'all seen like the new like charcuterie boards where you like make it all dip, like the hummus stuff? And that's awesome, right? Because you could use hummus or you could use something else that's pretty decent. And you could put, I saw on something I was watching, because I like all the cooking stuff. The chef was doing like all like, you know, dipping with big pieces of red pepper and cucumber. That's awesome. Because
Hey,
that can
Lane.
totally like, you're still in it.
Yeah, Lane, can you share your screen? Because I think this herb, I'm on page 6, and I just want to point out, I think this would be a great add to a board like that. But also, aren't y'all really proud of us for putting cottage cheese in the nutrition? I mean,
Yes,
this
good job.
is how to doctor up some cottage cheese. This is how to make it palatable. I can't wait. I think that's going to be delicious.
It actually looks so good. Like I would try that, and I don't like cottage cheese either. But
Same.
just remember, guys, like if you know that someone may not be having those vegetables on their appetizer, like, you know, someone's not bringing them, like you can bring that type of stuff. It's so simple. Like you just wash your veggies, cut them up,
Yeah.
and bring them with you, and then you already know that you have that there and ready to go as your appetizer.
I would choose, you're seeing wheat crackers in that image. I would probably choose rice crackers if they're gluten-free naturally. And so if you've not found a rice cracker that you love, we can give you some suggestions, but rice crackers are a great add. They're a little bit lighter, and you know, you're going to avoid the inflammation of, you know, the wheat if you suffer from any kind of inflammatory issues. That's a great way to avoid it. And plus, again, if you're going for stuffing, you're going for the more gluten-filled parts of the meal that kind of come on the main plate or the dessert. This would be a good way to balance that out a bit.
Hey, Emily, what about almond crackers? It's actually on top of my mind as well, but Beth just asked.
I would
like nut thins.
Yeah, I like nut thins. I think those are a great option as well. Yeah.
Cool.
I also like Mary's crackers. They actually have like seeds in them as well. So they're like packed with just like a ton of nutrients in
Those
them.
are good.
Yeah. And they taste good. So like those are also a good option versus like, you know, Ritz crackers or wheat thins or that kind of, or Triscuits, that kind of stuff.
I love those crackers. Those are so good.
Good. Yeah, those are awesome.
They're called Mary's?
Mary's crackers, yeah.
Gone crazy. Mary's gone crazy or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Mary's gone crazy or crazy crackers or something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what is the take on, like, if you're like, I'm on an anti-inflammatory, so you know, gluten-free and all that stuff. Like, would it be okay to have, like, should I make gluten-free stuff? Or for the one day, is it okay to have a stuffing that's made with like regular bread? Because I don't mind. I've been very taken to heart the gluten-free stuff. I just didn't know if it was worthwhile or if it's like, hey, for that one day, it's okay.
Do you have celiacs? Remind me. You don't, do you?
Just an anti-inflammatory diet that I'm on.
Emily, I'm gonna let you answer that.
I feel like, in my opinion, it's fine for like the day, but I would say that if you're going towards like the stuffing, maybe do like a smaller portion, and then like make sure that you're like choosing things that are like kind of naturally gluten-free, I would say. So like are actually coming up in our next couple of recipes, there's a salad that has like quinoa in it and like that kind of stuff. All of that's like gluten-free naturally. So choosing things that, you know, even mashed potatoes can be like gluten-free. So like if you want to choose that and just have like a smaller portion of stuffing, I think that that's a good option. Mac and cheese, I would also do like a really small portion of that, but you know, if you really want like a larger portion, I would make your own. I feel like throwing it off too much just for one day isn't going to be beneficial for you.
Bonnie did
It's kind of like the thing where just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean you can eat the whole helping.
Right.
So you have that.
That's a very great
balance.
point.
Yeah.
Bonnie said you'll be inflamed. You'll probably be inflamed. And she's right. You know, you may be puffier the next day. You may feel like your pants don't fit as well. But, you know, I'm trying to encourage you guys to be moderate with the things that you know aren't going to serve your body.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to enjoy them, but just in moderation. So it's a teaspoon, it's a tablespoon rather than a heaping spatula full of the thing that's not going to serve you.
Yeah. And Sammy, you know, I would encourage you to tune in the next day and even the day after that too, that Friday and Saturday, and see like, how are you feeling? How's your skin? How's your digestive system? How's your mood? But outside of the digestive issues that you would have from consuming food, how else is any kind of inflammation showing up in your body for sure?
Headaches.
Okay, thanks.
Headaches.
Great question.
I'm going to share screen, and Emily's going to do salads for us.
Yes, Beth, that's a great question. Pine nuts are good. And it sounds delicious with arugula and parm. That sounds
Mhm.
wicked yummy.
With some Parmesan. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be
so
good.
the whole point of putting like a couple of salads in these in a soup is to show you guys that it's really important to put a bunch of nutrient dense foods and vegetables like nuts and seeds, feta cheese in these salads, because if you're just having a bland old salad like a Caesar salad, say, that doesn't provide you with enough that's going to fill you up, first of all, and enough nutrients as well. It's pretty much just lettuce and croutons and Parmesan cheese. But and same goes with soup. So you want to make sure that there's some type of protein in it. You want to make sure that there's colorful veggies in it, and then that it's broth based specifically. Creamy soups we don't typically recommend, as they are typically higher in calories, and we can eat a little bit more of that. So sometimes we overeat those soups. But I think these salads are a great option for everyone here. They look delicious, and they have like the quinoa one is a whole grain, gluten-free as well. So that's a great option, and it looks delicious. Has all the kale, the dark leafy greens that we love, the good fats like the pecans and avocado. So I just think that it's really important, if like you guys want to try to bring one of these salads, it might be a hit. You never know. Especially this roasted pumpkin one. I would probably try to eat this whole thing. But it's just full of like good high fiber foods, healthy fats, and of course dark green veggies. So, and of course, like olive oil, and using like healthy dressings is really important as well.
This soup is gluten-free, dairy-free, paleo, egg-free. So this could be good for Bonnie. This would be good for Sammy. Really, it'd be good for all of us.
Yeah.
Me.
I don't want to breeze over some coaching that Emily just gave, where she suggested that you eat broth-based soups over cream-based soups. Broth-based soups typically have a lower caloric density, lower calorie food over a cream-based soup because of the fat in it. Now, if you're eating a ketogenic style diet, cream-based soups are fine. But if you're eating anti-inflammatory or eating something that's a little bit more intended to lower inflammation in your body, be looking for that broth-based soup. On a day where you're going to be consuming more calories than you typically do, you're looking for options that are going to lower your overall calories throughout the day. And that's why Emily added that broth-based soup.
And
I
just
think
like, oops, sorry, go ahead, Emma.
I think these soups and salads, while yes, they're great, like it would be great to take to a Thanksgiving meal, you could have this prepped and ready on Wednesday and then have it on Thursday post Thanksgiving. You could have the soup around, and that it's really nutrient filled, and it's just a good option for you.
That's a good idea. I mean, that for leftovers and such. Absolutely.
Yep.
Emma, are you ready for sides?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm actually better at sides than the main meal. Like I am, and I could eat a plate of sides.
I feel like Thanksgiving is the sides.
Yes, exactly. What we love about
Yep.
these recipes is that they are really nutrient filled. They're really nutrient dense. So you compare a bowl of mashed potatoes to a bowl of mashed squash. You might get some funny squash. Hello, mashed squash. Don't say that too fast. But it might you might get, a couple of weird looks from family members about your mashed squash. But Emily, why would you pick that over, like, say, mashed potatoes?
Okay, so I love squash because it is really high in fiber. It actually has more fiber than potatoes do. And it tends to have more, it doesn't have like more vitamins and minerals, but it has different type of nutrients that are very beneficial for our bodies. So it has things like beta carotene in it, which is really great part of vitamins that helps with our bodies, and then it's also lower, so like it's lower in carbohydrates versus potatoes as well. And there's so many things you can add to this type of thing too, like that aren't a lot of added not a lot of added sugars. Like you could do a little bit of maple syrup here and there, like you could do so much with it. So it's really a good option to add as like a side. Colors, I just want to hype up like colors, because if we don't want a full thing, of greens. We want to do a bunch of different colors, or just white potatoes or turnips or that kind of stuff. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and those colors are coming through in this roasted root veggies, which is a favorite in my house for sure. And what I love about roasted veggies is you can just pack as much color into an oven dish and kind of call it done, and then season it up however you want. What's really
And it's easy.
it's so
Wicked
easy.
easy.
It's so easy, yes, and super colorful and flavorful. What we've done with these recipes too, we've kind of tried to keep the sodium a little bit on the lower side. So anything that you are using, in terms of like a low sodium chicken broth or even your seasonings, we want to make sure that it is that low sodium, and you can allow your guests to salt it up however they might like, because we do know that salt can not have the best effect on our bodies the next day. So we've got 2 vegetable options for you there. I don't know, this kind of just popped into my mind. Would carrots would be a great add too, right Emily, just because of the nutrients in it, although they're pretty starchy.
Well, they're root vegetables, so a lot of these vegetables tend to be a little bit more on the starchy side. So things like turnips, parsnips, carrots, that kind of stuff, they're really high in nutrients. So that's just something to remember.
Yeah.
Something else
So
to
if you're
throw
on
in there.
keto, we wouldn't necessarily recommend doing like the root vegetables, but including mashed potatoes, but the squash would be a good option, that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. Something else that's easy to throw into this pan that I do a lot, and we love it. I know some people don't like mushrooms on this call, but cremini mushrooms are delicious. You just quarter them, stick them in here as well. And you can cut chunky pieces of red onion or regular onion, and it's delicious. And last year, Thanksgiving, I threw in a bunch of garlic pieces and just let them roast, and they're really good too.
Yum. So yummy. So yummy. One thing that we want to point out that I think is really important, we encourage half your plate veggies, right? If you're serving yourself at a big kind of meal like this, half your plate veggies is generally the rule. However, it is not these veggies. These are the starchy veggies that are delicious and super tasty and nutrient filled, but we would encourage you then to go for like the leafy green half your plate veggies from one of the salads that we provided, or any other salad that you see around. But that would be those are the veggies that we're going for when we say half your plate veggies, not half your plate filled with mashed potatoes. That's not what we're going with.
Hey guys, I'm going to just pipe in here and say, let's go light on the cranberry sauce. That's all I got for that.
Yep. Same. We can glance right over that. I do not love cranberry sauce.
It's here. It's here because it's quite traditional within the American culture. We all know that. And we prefer this over the weird gelatin stuff in the can.
Wait, I like that stuff more than
It's the great debate.
My guilty pleasure for you guys this time.
Yes.
The Jello
fake
cranberry sauce or this one, but regardless.
Yes, and that's a great point though. These last 2 recipes, the cranberry sauce and the green bean casserole. I mean, the green bean casserole, I know that in our culture we have that the canned dried onions that go on top and the crunchy things. What we are asking for here is that you just add your own thinly sliced yellow onions. You can even go one step further and not even chop it yourself. You can buy it pre-chopped, people, and just sprinkle that on top and just try to stay away from the processed foods. That's the idea. A lot of these recipes, you will know where the ingredients came from. You will know that they are whole and clean, and just that's exactly what they are, as opposed to onions out of a can. I just don't even know how they got in there and how that happened. Same thing with cranberry sauce. Like, what did they do to the cranberry sauce to get it? Oh, it's wrong.
Notice this has almond meal and chickpea flour versus just standard, enriched flour. So
yes, keep it clean.
Making that note there.
Yep.
All right. Last thing we're going to discuss is desserts and drinks. So I love a dessert. I also love a drink. So what I want to say is back to our our conversation around moderation. A slice of pie, I have no issue with. If you want to have a slice of pie after your meal, right? It's fine. It is a behavior that I'm about to share with you that I don't want you to partake in, and that is eating off of the pie plate. after the meal is done, where you just have a little bite here and a little bite there. That's what we're going to try to avoid. So with desserts, with leftovers that you know you're going to indulge in, that you know you can't necessarily trust yourself with, oh, just another little bite, just going to make my leftover plate and that'll be that. Send that stuff away with your family. Thank you very much. It was delicious, and goodbye. And if you are a visitor and they want you to take it with you, decide how much of it you're going to have in your household and let the rest of it go. You could make plates for folks on the street. You could do do homeless plates, deliver those on your way home. There's many ways that you cannot waste the food that you're purchasing, but get it outside of your home and away from your countertop. And mostly talking about pies and cakes right now with those kinds of desserts. We included in here for you to look at and for you to use a pumpkin pie. Emily, do you want to talk through this pumpkin pie at all? We're asking for a whole wheat pie crust from you.
You can also do, I always just recommend whole wheat especially if you're not gluten-free. Just anything that's whole grain is going to be more high in fiber, more nutrient dense, versus like a just regular all-purpose flour pie crust. But you can also buy gluten-free pie crust. I did look that up when we were talking about that the other day, Emma and Lane. You can purchase them. I'm pretty sure that like pre-made. I love making pie crust. It's actually really fun. So that maybe you guys can incorporate that with like making a whole grain or, like almond flour pie crust or something like that to make it gluten free. You can do that with your kiddos, or you can do that with your family and make it a little fun activity. But I just always recommend that to keep you a little bit fuller for longer. And pumpkin's a great option. I love the pumpkin pie versus a pecan pie. I don't know if you guys say pecan in Texas, but whatever.
I just
but
think
it just tends to have less sugar in it versus a pecan pie, whatever.
And this pie is coconut sugar and maple syrup. Pure maple syrup is the way to go. It's kind of pricey if you haven't bought it. Keep your eye on the price tag for that. But this is just a little bit healthier version. It is not gluten-free. These pies are not gluten-free. Same with a pecan pie or pecan if you're, from the South or elsewhere. Coconut sugar again, pure maple syrup again. Almond flour used here, which I love that option for you. So experiment, see what you can do this year. And you don't necessarily have to say this is healthy pumpkin pie or it's healthy pecan pie. You can just say it's pie.
People might not even notice, to be completely honest. And it's going to taste very similar to regular pumpkin or pecan pie.
2 drinks that we chose, the Fall French 75. This is a very trendy drink right now. So we dropped this in here for you to experiment with. And then the pomegranate, and we're in Texas. Most of us are in Texas. So the margarita is everything around here. And here's a pomegranate version. Lastly, the cranberry orange punch. I think if you're serving a large group, this is a great option for you.
And it looks pretty too.
And it does not have alcohol in it. This is non-alcoholic.
Can I say something, Lane? Sometimes I feel like there's a big debate between turkey and ham. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. So with turkey, I typically would recommend doing a turkey versus a ham. I know sometimes we do that more at Christmas time, but just in case your family likes to enjoy ham, ham is usually a little bit hot, the honey ham, higher in sugar and higher in sodium. So if you are going to have a little bit of ham or a slice of ham, I would just do that in moderation and take more of the turkey, which is a lean protein. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. All those honey baked hams from those companies and even from the grocer, if you're buying a pre-cooked ham, often they are loaded with sugar. So just be on the lookout. There's an option often to put a glaze on it. If you omit the glaze, you'll remove some of that sugar out of the dish.
My mother will come in there and like shank somebody if they even mention the glaze. She thinks it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It has like cloves and like all that spice in it.
That's the great Thanksgiving right there. When you
She's like, we're always like, oh mom, I'm gonna put this glaze on there. She's like, don't you dare to put that glaze on there. Don't touch the
Last week,
glaze.
I know it. Emma, you want to do portions real quick and then we will wrap this call up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my earbuds just actually went out. Okay, so can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Okay, cool. All right. So the portion guide, this is our strategy of generally across the board. We've used your hand. It is portable and you have it all the time. And it's also proportionate to your body. So typically a larger person is going to have a larger hand, and that's proportionate to how much they should be eating. So our guide is your protein, size of your palm, your vegetables, 2 fistfuls, and don't clench them up so they're little, like be generous with that. And then your carbs. This is where it gets kind of tricky. So a lot of people are like, ooh, how if I flex my finger, we want, kind of this, how high does it have to be and how much can it be? And so we just want to keep it reasonable, right? But use a scoop.
We're losing you, Emma. I think it may be your audio.
Can y'all hear me?
There you go.
Okay. So yeah, and your would be the top of your thumb. Now that is really tricky to think about when you're eating at other places, or you're not sure what is in a casserole type of thing. But that it's like what we're looking at. And if you are going for some nuts to snack on before your main meal, you want to keep it, kind of like this, as many as your thumb. That would be, or any kind of dip. That's a good rule of thumb. Is literally a rule of thumb.
It's a rule of
For
thumb.
your portion. I mean, wow, that's genius. Why didn't nobody think of that? So your plate, again, this is what we want your plate to look at. Half or more your plate veggies, right? And not the starchy potatoes. We want the leafy greens on there. And please enjoy quarter protein and a little bit of healthy fats. Keep that on there. If you know something is really fatty, enjoy it. I don't know what would be really fatty on the Thanksgiving table. I think it's generally a lot of carbs. What could be really fatty? Like a stuffing?
Ham.
Yep.
Gravy.
So small
Gravy.
gravy.
Oh, the gravy, yeah.
So keep your gravy.
Anything with cheese.
Mashed potatoes.
If they put cream in it,
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing to maybe ask, oh, what's your recipe for that? Or like, but be like, don't be like, what's in that? Like, be like, oh, can I ask what's in that? Like, be nice about it.
Or
But
just the soup, y'all, just the teaspoon or tablespoon of it, and
And
you
that's
have
exactly it.
pleased all the people.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Questions, thoughts?
I'm going to encourage you guys to plan. If you're in program with us, you know that we plan a lot. We look at our calendar a lot. And I think this is almost something that we have to start working on this coming weekend, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have to make sure that we have our groceries and our plan set so that you go in with a plan, not only on the day, but your recovery the day after, right? How are you going to come back from this? How do you want to come back from this? What do you need to have in your home so that it's a no-brainer, right?
So one meal doesn't send you off for 2 weeks of negative eating and eating that doesn't serve your body and is guilt, creates guilt. One meal is one meal and you move on from there. And the next meal you have is back, with foods that nourish your body and that are intentional in your body. And you get back to your mindset work the next day.
Yep.
So call out what you did well and celebrate an amazing day. Hopefully it is amazing for you, and move forward as you do. That wraps up the conversation. Thank you for joining us. I will have this replay available for everybody who wants to rewatch it, and for the people who couldn't make the meeting.
And if you don't have your book, let us know. We're in the app, we're in Nudge. We're happy to get it over to you. We got lots of recipes for you.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.